Devanshi, good morning. हेलो देवांशी.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
तुम्हारी उस दिन फिर जर्मन की क्लास का कुछ हुआ था क्या? स्पेनिश के जर्मन वो
सर स्पेनिश की क्लास उस दिन नहीं हुई थी.
तुम्हारी आवाज बहुत धीमी है.
सर सबकी क्लासेस हुई थी, स्पेनिश की नहीं हुई थी.
आई थिंक वी नीड टू टॉक ऑन द फोन. तुम्हारी आवाज नहीं आ रही अभी यहाँ पे.
सर मैं इस क्लास के बाद आपको कॉल. सर है मैं ऑडिबल?
So guys, a very good morning to all of you. I hope you all are doing good. So looking forward to see you all in the coming time. Anyways, okay. As of now, what we have talked about the composting process, and then we talked about the vermicomposting. Fine. It's again a agriculture-based system that can be utilized in order to have any kind of business. The third thing that we are about to talk today is the mushroom technology. Mushrooms, over the period of the years, they have consistently grown up in such a way, the industry has grown up in such a way that apart from being just an edible food, having medicinal properties, providing some kind of nutritional benefits that are not related to any other food components. So all these things all together, they make mushrooms as a very good candidate, and their industry with a very low investment is turning out to be a very good potential. Situation kya hai? Why it is important? The reason is that in country like India, with where we are just in the developing phase and we are just trying to grow, you must have seen that there is a huge difference between the rural population and the urban population. Urban population, they actually are living in the cities, are grown up, have necessary things. मतलब हर चीज उनके पास already there are so many things which are already being there. They have tons of appreciations, I would say, that they have while sitting in this cities, while living in the cities. But contrarily, just see the population, the percentage of the population that has been living in the rural area, plus the situation that is prevailing there. So that needs to be taken care of. So these composting, vermicomposting, mushroom cultivation, silkworm industry, ये कुछ ऐसी चीजें हैं which actually are trying to improve that scenario. So that needs to be worked upon. The government of India, there are many countries who looked into this matter, but why to compare other countries with us where the situation is entirely different? Say if we talk about United States here, United States, they have a very different scenario in their nation. They in 1980s probably they come to know about the importance of mushroom, it's being edible, and they know it was in scarce and the production was very low, but the price was high. So they came up with the idea, okay, let us grow mushroom at a very large scale, and the technology that they developed over the years, they had their results with them. But there are majorly two mushroom varieties, सिर्फ दो mushroom varieties हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा जो वहाँ पे ग्रो होती है. वन इज अगेरिकस एंड देन देयर इज अनदर. इट्स लाइक 10% प्रोडक्शन और दूसरी वैरायटी के इट्स बिट कॉस्टलियर, but otherwise agaricus has grown broadly. I mean 80 to 90% is being there, but situation was very different in our nation. We had a large cadre of the population that was staying in the rural areas and a very small population that were in urban cities. Second was the situation, the pettiness of the farmers here in India was quite different. How about the availability of the resources to those farmers? How about the city waste being produced and how much is being provided to the farmers in order to have the compost ready with them? This is not about the compost, but the compost that is required for the production of the mushroom. So I'm talking about the mushroom cultivation here only. So these situations, they were quite different, but in years like 2010, not dated very back, like 10 or 12 years back, a decade earlier, the situation was different when they cited the importance of the mushroom, that it need to be developed. It need to be supported, though by international bodies or international forums, and then national forums, they need to be developed up at the Indian scale in order to have the mushroom cultivation escalated so that it will improve the situation of the rural farmers, the rural people, and will maintain a small scale industry. So it boosted up. It boosted up. Now you see the situation. I mean, there is a clear difference. Mushrooms, कोई time होता था साल में जब available होते थे, there was a time. But now they are available throughout the year. What things they have improved over the period of time was, first was the production that has been tremendously has enhanced, and second was post harvest. हार्वेस्ट होने के बाद जो उसकी स्टोरेज है, दैट इज व्हाई द मशरूम्स दे आर नाउ बीइंग ट्रांसपोर्टेड इन बॉक्सेस एंड दे आर कवर्ड विद द सेरन रैप क्लिंग फिल्म, उससे कवर्ड होते हैं ताकि मशरूम की शेल्फ लाइफ बढ़ी रहे, खराब ना हो, काले ना पड़े, खराब हो जाएंगे. सो दे आर नॉट एडिबल एट ऑल. देन हाउ, what quality of mushrooms they need to be developed? So that needs to be taken care of. What nutritional benefits? Because otherwise शायद 10,000 के आसपास स्पीशीज हैं मशरूम्स की, of which very few are edible. Otherwise they all are poisonous. तो वो कैसे separate करे जाते हैं? How to compare them? What technology has been developed in order to see if that mushrooms belongs to a good family, is belonging to an edible family, or not being edible but has some medicinal values, has some nutritional values? Can it be utilized? Can we do something with the biotechnological tools in order to reap that nutrition effect out of that mushroom? अगर वो भी नहीं है, अगर wild varieties भी हैं, so can they be crossed? Can they be utilized in order to have new mushroom varieties so that new edible mushroom varieties they can be developed with more qualitative properties, मतलब disease resistance है, pest नहीं उनको पड़ रहे हैं, so that can be attained from the wild mushrooms. So typically 3 type of mushrooms they have been divided into. The first is the edible mushroom, then the nutritional one, third is the wild. Edible और nutritional फिर भी बहुत ज़्यादा resemble करते हैं, but wild mushrooms they are entirely different, but have been used in order to maintain the germplasm of the mushrooms in order to attain many things, many benefits out of the mushrooms. उसमें जो wild type जिनकी मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, the crosses, the somatic hybrids that have been developed, attain the cross between the mushroom varieties and in order to attain a new variety. Shelf life कैसे increase की जाती है? Chitinase, जो chitin fungi, क्योंकि ये fungus है तो उसमें जो chitin का content होता है has to be increased. That will strengthen the cell wall. Ultimately, the mushroom quality would be improved. Can these properties be attained in the mushroom? So all these things they need to be taken care of. Why mushrooms they have been good? If we talk about the nutritional physiological benefits, mushrooms they are rich in proteins, they had a chitin content, they are rich in vitamins, they are very low in fats, there are no bad cholesterols, कोई bad ऐसे fatty acids वगैरह उनमें नहीं होते हैं. So they actually will make you, if you feed upon them, will make you fitter and healthier. So that is the most important biological function I would say nowadays, कि आप कुछ खा रहे हैं, आप वेट नहीं गेन कर रहे हैं, अगर वेट कॉन्शियस हैं तो ये चीज़ें बहुत मैटर करती हैं. बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट has been in the folklore since our beginning of the Ayurveda. तब से निकल के आए हैं. Chinese तो ये proverb use करते हैं. When food was there, there were medicines. Food और medicines दोनों इकट्ठे आए because they have extracted many medicines and they have been coming all together. So they have been used as the food resources, as the source of enhancers to increase the nutritional content. Maybe it's a pizza, maybe it's a food, maybe it's used as a condiment. It has its own piquancy, it has its own flavor. So in the mushroom soup, it's there. So these experimental based evidence, they have confirmed the importance of the mushroom. तो वो सिर्फ उसकी nutritional quality या उसके benefits में ही नहीं है, but how easily it can be obtained. It's just a fungus without anything, without any leaves, without anything. मतलब उसमें कुछ भी नहीं है, लेकिन एक seed sprout हो रहा है fruit में. It's just a fruit actually which can be consumed. And in the recent discoveries, there have been seen that the beneficial effect of mushrooms against number of diseases. Beneficial effect, number of diseases. China, it has been practiced. In Africa, the clinical trials were there on HIV patients, where they have seen that the mushroom derivative capsules, they have worked effectively in order to have the weight gain in HIV infected patients. Weight gain, I repeat, weight gain in HIV infected patients. How it does it has not been confirmed so far, but overall it improves the quality. The hemocyte count, the blood profile has tremendously improved on those patients, has been improved. So that is all these benefits, they make mushroom as a quality choice in order to have it to develop into industry. India में ये चीज बहुत बाद में आई थी. There is an institute in Solan, Himachal Pradesh, that is working on mushrooms. So they have been developing, they already have a very natural germplasm maintained out of the mushroom varieties that are found in India, edible mushrooms. Wild bhi hai unke paas. Taxonomically acclaimed internationally, and germplasm maintained is there with them for the mushrooms that were native to India. India में mushrooms की जो कहानी है has been long dated back. मैंने आयुर्वेदा की बात करी तो आप समझ ही सकते हैं कि बहुत सालों से पहले से मशरूम्स के बारे में पता था. बट इन हिमाचल मशरूम कैन बी सीन ग्रोन वाइल्डली इट्स देयर बिकॉज द टेंडेंसी ऑफ स्पोर्स जर्मिनेट करते हैं एंड दे जर्मिनेट in very well in advance. In advance, it means they take a very short period of the time. In 2-3 weeks, they sprout and they are ready to have the mushrooms. But wildly जो mushrooms दिखते हैं, they are not very edible. हिमाचल में there is a quality of the mushroom that is known as गुच्ची. किसी ने अगर नाम सुना है, it's not the brand name that I've been talking about, but बहुत देसी language में उसको गुच्छी बोलते हैं, गुच्छी. So that is a very expensive. It costs around 10,000 rupees per kg. That edible variety of the mushroom, and they eat it like the best quality dates. खजूर जो होती है, मतलब अगर वो बहुत सुपीरियर क्वालिटी है, वैसे देखने में वैसी लगती है. इट्स डिलीशियस. इज प्रिपेयर्ड इन द वेडिंग्स वेयर, मतलब जो बहुत अमीर लोग होते हैं उनकी वेडिंग्स में वो मशरूम की सब्जी बनती है. So it costs around 10 to 15,000 rupees per kg. So that is gucci. The quality of that is there. They say that it has tremendous benefits. सर्दियों में खाने से शरीर के अंदर गर्मी रहती है. Plus it has nutritional benefits and they have medicinal derivatives out of that. मतलब जो वहाँ के वैद्य हैं वो उसको use करते हैं dried powdered in order to have efficacy against number of disease ailments. So all these things, they make mushroom a very good choice. Himachal, if we talk about the conditions, the climatic conditions that prevail there suits to the environment. Presence, the not mispresence I would say, but the minimal level of the pest and diseases in Himachal also adds to the benefit for the growth of the mushroom. Okay, let us see at the large world level. The mushroom industry has now been valued to be more than 60 billion US dollars. बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा amount है. Apple का कल I was just studying about the apple fruit that we have, and the total amount it fetches out of one state in India is rupees 2,000 crores. 2,000 crores in one season. That is the latest report. But just imagine, I mean, I have not seen the mushrooms at such a large scale that are being produced, and they fetched a big industry in all over the world. So it's more than 60 billion US dollars. तो एक बहुत बड़ा number है. The mushrooms, they have been clinically been proved in order to have the beneficiaries on the human health. Eating mushrooms and mushroom products will actually add to have a healthier, happier and longer life is a Chinese saying. So without leaves, without buds, without flowers, it's just the fruit that sprouts out and is used as a food, as a tonic, as a medicine, and everything about it is just so precious. There are large number of mushroom population that have been existing on the planet, and more around about 20,000 species that have been identified. Mushroom basically hai kya? They are a fungi that grows in a very big size, so they have been called as macrofungi. And if we talk about the nation to nation wise, more than 300 to 400 species have been identified in India only, out of which very few, I won't number them because I don't know exactly, very few they are edible species, but they are in big numbers. So thousands of species have been identified in India. The production of mushrooms now has been tremendously increasing over the years, and it's because of the contributions from the developing nations. India has a big contribution in order to have its increased production in mushroom and is a good exporter. I won't say best, but though it's a good exporter of the this mushroom fungus in the world. So why mushroom has been added as a subject into the life sciences part? Because of its quality, yes. Because of its business opportunity, of course it's there, and how it can be moved into the research in order to improvise, in order to have enhanced production, in order to have more nutritional content. So now there are number of scientists in India, those who are working on in order to have the methods devised in order to have improved cultivation, improved varieties, improved quality, improved nutritional content in mushroom. So that is all. So I've told you that there are three mushroom that have been there broadly that have been classified into. One is the cultivated, that is the edible mushroom. The other is the wild mushroom that is available, and the third is the nutritional or the medicinal mushroom that is there. Apart from the folklores that I've been talking about in Ayurveda, it was Linnaeus who, in backdated in 1800, has reported the mushroom variety that he took from Tamil Nadu. तो वहाँ से mushroom बहुत जगहों पे was established. It was not native to all the countries, to what has been deciphered out of the research. वो native नहीं था बहुत जगहों पे, but now has been established very well. Now, every country, every nation, they have their own perception about the food eating habits, and they have their own climatic conditions where the mushrooms they accordingly they grows. Broadly अगर मैं classify करूँ mushrooms को grow करने के लिए, you can have it in two ways. One is growing it outside, another is growing in a controlled way inside. Inside वाला जो method है that is being growing inside, that has grown over the years because of in order to have large production. Otherwise, this fungi is being outside, is being prone to number of factors, be it be harsh climatic conditions, be it be pests, be it be disease, be it be animals that feed upon them, and they just destroy it. But over the years, the mushroom derivatives or the mushroom that has taken place all over the world is agaricus. Agaricus, उसके बाद lentinula, pleurotus, they have grown tremendously and suited well all over the world and have been grown in India as well. We'll come to what qualities they are there in Indian mushrooms. I won't go into the bigger picture now, because one by one, when we'll come to the topic of each and every mushroom, the first thing that I would like to talk about would be the biology of the mushrooms. But overall, hai kya? How they say that it has been related to the human health qualities. So the food nutrition, food की तरह हम लोग इसको कंज्यूम करते हैं, न्यूट्रिशनल है, कुछ लोगों को बहुत अच्छा टेस्ट आता है इनमें, बट apart from it, it has great physiological functions that have been proved. मैंने पहले ही बोला था, कैलोरीज बहुत कम होती हैं, वेट ऐड नहीं करता है, डू नॉट कंटेन एनी कोलेस्ट्रॉल, हैज वेरी लो फैट, and the proportions that are there are unsaturated fatty acids which are required by our body. So they have low purine content, that if any person is suffering from metabolic diseases, they suits to them. ग्लूकोज का लेवल बहुत लो होता है, डायबिटिक पेशेंट्स के लिए अच्छा होता है. सोडियम का कंसंट्रेशन बहुत कम होता है, so it's good for the people those who are suffering from high blood pressure. It contains certain vitamins that have been essentially required as a dietary daily requirement, so they can be covered up by eating mushrooms. Benefit, they had high content of potassium and phosphorus. That actually improves, I mean, we do need to have potassium from outside, we do need to have phosphorus, that is the energy resource, so that is being provided. It's in very good proportion that is being there in mushrooms. Anti-cancerous, antiviral, antifungal, I mean, properties, they have already been associated with it, because it's an excellent antioxidant. So wo nascent oxygen species, the single oxygen that is being produced through the reaction of the hydrogen peroxide mechanism is being targeted, is being destroyed. Antioxidant value है, ultimately aging के process को वो slow करता है. So all these benefits, just see that how good mushroom is. I'll tell you that mushroom, many people of you must be knowing it, that intercontinental food, mushroom is consumed in a raw form, in uncooked form. So that is another quality feature that is there. So apart from being delicious food stuff, it had its own unique flavors that add to it, and is good in rich soluble sugars, organic acids, amino acids, और सारे इसमें बहुत सारे ऐसे substrates होते हैं, glucans हैं, because they are natural in fungi, glucans and chitin, it's there, which can add to the component in the human food chain. Lectins हैं, RNA के कुछ ऐसे components होते हैं which add to the RNA content of the human cells. Fiber, that is again a good quality about mushrooms, is that they are high in fiber, and low molecular weight organic substances जो naturally plants में होते ही हैं, terpenoids हैं, alkaloids हैं, there can be phenols which are present inside it. So overall, it has a great beneficial to the human health. And then coming to the nutritional value and the human medicinal tonic attributes that mushroom has, over the years it has been identified that it has a high quality protein, it has vitamins, it has minerals, with low fats, low saturated fatty, saturated but with high unsaturated fatty acids, fiber है उसमें, तो ये हर तरह से एक तरह का टॉनिक तो है ही है, नेचुरल टॉनिक. बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम इट, there have been folklores, there have been texts that have been associated with Ayurveda and many other folklores in China, that mushrooms have their exponential roles in order to have an improvement in diseased people. Mushroom soups, raw mushroom food have really been added to the diets of the people, those who have been suffering from disease or ailment, and they have recovered very well. So people, scientists all over the world, they are working on the clinical aspects of these, that really if that can be worked upon, it can be utilized. The production need to be tremendously increased so that it can be included, just like potatoes, mushrooms can be included into the human food diet, because there have been no shortcomings, or there have been no major lackings that have been seen that कि मशरूम ज़्यादा खाने से कोई नुकसान हुआ. So they have been really been working very well. एक एग्जांपल जो मैंने बताया था, जो पेशेंट्स के ऊपर क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स करे गए थे इन HIV पेशेंट्स इन अफ्रीका, there was an average increase in the body weight of those infected patients the CD4 component of the immune system has been increased in those patients, and the blood profile, the hemoglobin content has also been increased in those patients. That has been clinically been improved, but on a very small scale, so a small group people. So what they were feeded upon into, they were just feeded onto mushroom capsules. So they have those drugs coming out of them. In conclusion, I would say that mushroom has tremendously been used as a food component, as a nutritional component, as well as a health benefits that have been associated with it. Coming to the, okay, this is the brief introduction about the mushrooms. Now, what do we have in India? India अभी तक जो जर्म प्लाज्म मेंटेन करा था उसमें अगेरिकस की ही स्पीशीज हैं जो बहुत नेटिवली फाउंड करी गई थी, एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट देयर वाज एमनिटा, देयर वाज एग्रोसाइप, देयर आर लेसरीमेरिया, प्लूटस के बारे में मैंने बताया था जो आइडेंटिफाई हुआ है. सो दे हैव बीन नेटिव टू हिमाचल एंड अ जर्म प्लाज्म दैट हैव बीन कलेक्टेड फ्रॉम साउथ ईस्टर्न, साउथ एंड वेस्टर्न घाट स्टेट्स, वहाँ से कलेक्ट करा गया था. ड्राई एरियाज में ये बहुत कम होता है. It actually requires a subtle environment in order to have its growth there. So फोकलोज में तो था ही पहले, लेकिन बहुत पुरानी लिटरेचर में लीनियस के बारे में उन्होंने पहले ही ये बातें बताई थी. सो हाउ अबाउट अगेरिकस? Without going into in-depth detail, a good quality feature of the mushroom I am just describing in a very few points is the pilus that it must be having. It should grow in a good size. बहुत बड़े जो मशरूम्स होते हैं, दे ग्रो अप टू 9 सेंटीमीटर्स इन डायमीटर. 9 सेंटीमीटर बहुत बड़ा हो गया स्केल के ऊपर. इफ यू जस्ट पुट इट, आई मीन इट्स अ बिग मशरूम साइज, एंड शुड बी वाइट टू पेल कलर और डार्क सेंटर्ड, increasing in size with the say few centimeters, not very big enough, because it has been associated that very large size mushrooms, they have not been certified as to be a edible mushrooms due to some poisonous effect that they have. Apart from that, they turn out to have a purplish effect at maturity. This is about the edible mushroom that I have been talking about. Purplish effect that turns out to be black, they are edible mushrooms. तभी बोलते हैं कि इनके पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी के ऊपर काम करना बहुत जरूरी होता है. एंड a base that broadens up but not very widened. Broad मतलब थोड़ा सा फैलता है but not very wide. The surface, it should be white in color, should not turn black at a very efficient. So basically it grows from the spores. The quality of the spores is that it should be thick walled, should not be fitted up by any other species, should be dark, should be smooth. This is all about the good quality of the fungus spores that have been used in order to have the quality mushrooms out of it. And in India there have been a number of 28 species. अभी जो recent data था उसमें 28 species जो हैं, they have been declared as the edible species of the fungus. उनमें कुछ नाम मैंने अभी आपको बताए थे. Apart from that, what has been practiced in India in order to improve the mushroom quality, the Mushroom Genome Project was initiated, and there were implications that were cited in order to have the genetic improvement. So as of now, the mushroom mitochondrial genome as well as the mushroom nuclear genome, they have been sequenced, they have been worked upon. Functional annotation की जब बात आती है कि genes हैं, genetic gene pool है, but how much has been annotated? Annotation means that biologically क्या relevance है उस gene का. तो वो 300 to 350 genes that have been worked upon. ये भी काम इसलिए हो पाया था because they all were related to the nutritional benefits. So some were actually, they were actually involved in substrate utilization, defense of the fungal defense mechanisms. उन्हीं के और यहाँ अपने वो कंटेंट को इंक्रीज करने के लिए chitin और they have been worked out, and how the DNA has been utilized in order to identify the varieties through our AFLP or RFLP, RAPD, इन टेक्निक से, मॉलिक्यूलर मार्कर से कैसे इनकी वेराइटीज को डायग्नोज या इनको आइडेंटिफाई करा जाता है, दे हैव ऑल बीन वर्कड आउट. सो इन ऑर्डर टू आइडेंटिफाई द क्वालिटी ऑफ द एडिबिलिटी ऑफ द मशरूम, the molecular markers they have been developed in order to see if any kind of poisonous or any other genes, if they are there, what mushroom qualities they come up in the phanerogram, in the agarose gel का जो वो picture आती है after AFLP and RAPD analysis, so that have been worked upon. So it tells about that how the genome has been, it goes get fragmented either through rapid amplification or through रैंडम फ्रेगमेंट लेंथ पॉलीमॉर्फिज्म, चाहे वो रिस्ट्रिक्शन एंजाइम से डाइजेस्ट करके उसके प्रोफाइल है या फिर उसको रैंडमली एम्पलीफाई करके उसका जो प्रोफाइल है, जिसमें यूनिवर्सल प्राइमर्स यूज करे जाते हैं. So with that, the things they have been streamlined in order to see that what physical characterization of the genomic DNA, whether it has been utilized in what way and what studies have been conducted. So I'll be talking about that. So genome में उसके 12 chromosomes they've been worked upon, 13 have been found in some of them, and the most important thing was that the library for the express sequence tags. ये दोस्तों वो होते हैं that genes they actually when they express themselves, all those cDNAs they have been converted into the libraries and have been sequenced. तो mRNA basically. So those mRNAs are called as express sequence tags because वो genes अपने आप को express करते हैं. The reason is that the DNA is very repetitive. बहुत major amount उसमें repetitive DNA का होता है. इसका जो size होता है is close to 35 to 40 mega base pairs. So that is not very big size for a fungal genome. Normally इतना ही होता है. And 300 to 400 genes they have been characterized out of it, which is not a big number. But a major portion of the DNA has been seen to have a repetitive sequence, retrotransposons या और जो repetitive satellite sequences होते हैं, they have been there. Okay, more about the mushrooms. The mitochondrial genome has also been worked upon for this, and the mitochondria basically electron transport chain के उसके पास ज़्यादा वो होते हैं molecules, the enzymes that it has. But apart from it, nothing has been much been worked upon the mitochondrial genome. So that is the story that many technologies they have been developed in India in order to see that whether how it, if the fungus can be included under those molecular marker based species. That means that उनके genes, ribosomal genes, उनको sequence करा गया है, उनकी एक library prepare करी गई है, RAPD, RFLP के results बनाए गए हैं, and I'll show you the gels that okay, the species of the fungus that have been included, how do they look in their profiles, what genetically what has been sequenced, how their profiles they need to be deduced. फाइलोजेनी से भी फंगस की स्पीशीज से ये पता लगता है कि ये जो मशरूम है जो नया है उसके राइबोसोमल सीक्वेंस से that whether it is related to a non-edible fungal species or it belongs to an edible fungal species. So that can be worked upon. So that benefits has been reaped out in that work has जो मैंने बात करी है वो पूरा इंडिया में ही बात करी गई है. So that is the good point about it. Coming to the technology of the this mushroom production is a really good point that has been worked upon. In order to grow the mushrooms, they need to have those beds made out of compost. Compost has been said to have a very beneficial effect in mushroom growth, but scenarios कहाँ खराब हुए थे when, because the beds that have been made out of, I am not going into the bed production, but मैं बता देता हूँ briefly होता क्या है. कंपोस्ट जहाँ से आ रही है, एनिमल मैन्योर है यूज करा जा रहा है, वीट पैटी स्ट्रॉज हैं, वीट के रिमेन्स हैं, all they have been included in order to grow those fungal spores because fungus grows very well if feed it to the plant material. हिमाचल में पाइन के ट्रीज के ऊपर fungus, this mushroom they have been seen to grow on the blade leaves के जो blades होते हैं उनके ऊपर ये fungus mushroom grow कर रही होती है. So they tend to have a very good tendency to grow on the plant remains. So animal remains, they provide the nitrogenous content that is not very rich in the dried material leaves that are coming from the plant site. But a bed is prepared that contains the wheat patty straws and the dry remains of the plant material and the animal manure that is being mixed up. Problem कहाँ थी, जो मैंने बात शुरू में करी थी, that the use of the pesticides is very high to have been बहुत ज़्यादा accumulation होती थी. अब अगर हम कंपोस्ट की बात करते हैं दोस्तों, कंपोस्ट में क्या था कि the waste material they were reaped and they were utilized in order to have zero waste management. Once it is what it was done, that waste was again utilized to again into the fields. So plants, they have those selectivity mechanisms that जहाँ पे heavy metals होते हैं, plants वहाँ पे grow ही नहीं करते हैं. They are being turned into toxic and they tend to grow where the soil is good. तो वहाँ पे plants grow करते थे जहाँ pesticide का level low है, plants वहाँ पे grow कर रहे हैं. So pesticides, they have already been there into our food chain. Now the thing is entirely changed. You are actually using the compost directly to grow the mushrooms that will be going directly into a food chain. So वो plants के through होके नहीं आ रहे, process होके नहीं आ रहे, उनके fruit से नहीं आ रहे, but this is something directly that is being grown on that compost and is now being utilized as such. So that quality of the compost, the animal manure that is coming up needs to be very well taken care of. System की बात कर रही थी मैंने कि what systems have been developed apart from the bedding system. Just a second, please. Okay. So what system is being developed? There are two systems broadly. मैंने शुरू में ये बात बताई थी कि एक बाहर लगाने वाला एक अंदर है. अंदर वाले सिस्टम को has been controlled in number of ways. That system can be controlled. You actually, what has been practiced over the years now, that okay, we won't use any kind of pesticides that are coming from the waste material. A material that comes from the organic fields can be utilized in order to have the mushroom cultivated. तो वहां से अगर मटेरियल आता है, that will be very good material to have it, and then you put up certain things in that material. Animal manure बहुत अच्छी जगहों से आ रहा है, good farm से आ रहा है, जहाँ पे cows या और जो भी animals हैं, they have not been feeded much with the chemical foods, and if that kind of food is being available, put up the industry, grow the mushrooms. So ultimately the edibility would be very much confined to the nutritional requirements that is there from every mushroom, but that mushroom will not contain any pesticides या कोई भी ऐसा नुकसान वाला कुछ भी नहीं होगा उनके पास. तो ये चीजें मैटर करती हैं, how it is being produced up. Now the technology have been developed in which the natural things like steam, अगर पेस्ट या डिजीज को कंट्रोल करना है मशरूम की ग्रोथ के टाइम पे, steam has been utilized a very good factor in order to control those pests and diseases. Steam बना दी जाती है, उसमें फंगस को नहीं ज्यादा इफेक्ट करती, but other microorganisms that may be growing up, they are lushed down. And secondary is any harmful microorganisms, be it be bacteria that we do not want, because now we are feeding the compost material directly to the fungus. We want those spores to germinate. Fungus के spores germinate करते हैं, and then they grow into the mushrooms that grow in a groups of 4 to 5, 5 to 6. There are different numbers for every mushroom variety. So that is basically the mycelium. Fungus के अगर structure को देखा जाए, carp होता है, then there is a pilus, the base is there. That base is actually the mycelium that is being spreaded. तो वो mycelium ऐसे फैला होता है बिल्कुल वेब की तरह, that actually utilizes that surface के ऊपर से ही वो nutrition reap करता है. So when it grows inside that composting material, directly it will reap the nutrition, it will reap the food from those composting material in order to add it to itself actually. तो वो mushrooms की quality का ध्यान रखना बहुत जरूरी होता है. So that how the systems they have been developed, now what is being practiced, and then we'll start fresh in order to begin with that what fungal biology, how the fungus it grows, what processes have been involved, how mushroom actually grows, what are the parts of the mushroom, how the edible and non-edible mushrooms they can be differentiated, Then coming to the small scale industry that have been developed in India, how government is supporting, what initiatives have been there from the government side, how banks they have been supporting in order to fund the initiatives in in this mushroom biology industry. So we'll be talking about that along with the biotechnological improvisation that has been included in growing mushrooms and good quality mushrooms and their development. So that would be all for today's lecture. Uh, okay, I'll stop the session here. Would like to ask you people how you find it, what was there, and any questions if they are there, please come out with them. Adhish, Ayushi, Sam, Manaswini, please.
Sir, so I had a question. What is is there any use of the wild mushrooms? Is there any way
Hmm.
that they're being developed to benefit on any kind of, human practices or something?
Human practices, though they have been declared to be have a beneficial role in crosses that need to develop the edible mushroom. वाइल्ड टाइप का मशरूम वहां पे काम आता है जहां पे यू एक्चुअली लीव bad genes of the mushroom of the wild mushroom and you have a good quality out of good quality genes in the crosses. So when you do the crosses of the edible and non-edible or the wild mushroom, in order to see that if good quality benefits they are coming out in the next generation, that can be reaped. Apart from that, wild mushrooms edible nahi hai, but any quality, any medicinal properties that can be attained out of it. See, drug discovery goes parallel with the plant sciences altogether. Drugs हैं ठीक है, but plant derivatives they have been used as a already known drug targets that have been utilized. So any such active molecules, if they can come out of those wild mushrooms, can have a benefit to humans. And Manaswini, always, I mean, this is the natural tendency of the humans to reap any kind of benefit they can out of everything. Manaswini.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Adhish, please.
Yes, sir. Sir, what mushroom species would you suggest if one wants to grow it in the backyard or in the room as a starter? Like
In the backyard, yes, they can be grown.
it's a growing
Only,
mushroom as a
हाँ,
hobby.
Adhish, क्या growing mushroom?
So like starting to grow them from as a hobby, then
Okay, okay, I'm getting
to
your point, Adhish. Getting your point.
yes.
Definitely, it can be very much practiced. दो आई हैव नेवर जैसे प्लांट्स में या कंपोस्ट मैंने खुद बनाया है फ्रॉम द किचन वेस्ट दैट वाज कमिंग आउट एट माय होम बट I have no experience to exactly work upon the mushrooms, but definitely if you have the compost being prepared up in a pit, I know the procedure in where the mushrooms उस compost की pit के ऊपर ही fungal spores that can be provided from the fungal germplasms that are developed in India. So there are many seed banks of these fungal these mushroom species in Solan. The spores they can be reaped from there. उनकी कॉस्ट भी कहीं मैंने पढ़ी थी बहुत मिनिमल है एंड कैन बी स्प्रेडेड ऑन दैट कंपोस्ट पिट जो आपने बैकयार्ड में बनाई है इन ऑर्डर टू हैव दोस मशरूम्स केयर अधीश ने हॉबी की बात करी पहले और फिर बिजनेस की बात करी तो हॉबी में definitely the care needs to be taken up for the environmental climatic conditions because mushrooms they need to have that controlled environment. They get affected by the pH where they grow, their growth get affected, they may change to have the nutritional things in their growing stage, it can be changed because ultimately it's the mushroom जो माइसीलियम से मैंने बताया था कि वो बिल्कुल अपने सरफेस से खाना लेती है जो भी खाती है वो तो anything that is coming up needs to be very well taken care of and once it is developed the edible mushroom can be consumed safely in at home. Once it is done, okay, now you know at the small level, but going at the large level you need to go into, I mean, now I'm talking about from hobby to going into practice in order to have an industry. For that there needs to be visits, there need to be conversations, there need to be जो भी आप किसी से भी कांटेक्ट करके in order to see if it can be how the mushroom industry it works, because things they get readily changed when you go up at a large scale. Adhish.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
But definitely a hobby can be developed into an industrial process. That can be done. I mean, it's good if you had something in your mind.
Yes, sir. Sir, also I think growing mushrooms on a compost pit is a win-win situation.
Yes, exactly. Growing mushrooms on the compost, so that is okay, waste without any major input, you had the edible thing that is coming out. That can be done. Definitely it can be done. Well, Adhish, Manaswini, anybody else? Ayushi, Sam, Devanshi, Ishita, Jhanvi. Ayushi, Sam, Devanshi, Ishita, Jhanvi, Namrata. किसी का कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है? नंदिनी, नेहल, रूपल. Sometimes I doubt myself. Either my lecture was delivered so efficiently, or sometimes I doubt that it didn't go into your ears, or it goes into the ears but यहाँ से गया और निकल गया. So try to leave it behind, because now we'll having face-to-face interactions where I would love to see you people in front of me in order to see how you people get the things. So that is the most important thing I see in the class. Ishita कुछ बोलना चाह रहे हो?
No, sir, no doubts. It was very much clear.
So fine, guys, would request you all to have your cameras turned on one by one. I'll speak out the names. Adhish.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Camera, please.
Is it visible?
Yeah, okay. Fine, Adhish. Janvi, okay. Ayushi.
Present, sir.
Fine. Devanshi. Ishita. Nandini is there.
Present,
Sam
sir.
is there. Manaswini is there. Nehal का भी हो गया, ठीक है. Sahiba is there. Fine. Namrata is there. Kshitij is absent today. Then Sahiba का हो गया. Sanjana, okay. Rupal, fine. Shakti, done. Shivani, thank you. Yuvraj, Tridev, fine. So Vivek, where is Vivek? Yukta?
Sir, I'm present.
Vivek, okay,
Sir, I'm
it's done.
present.
Okay, fine. Yukta? Okay, fine, Yukta, fine. Thank you. Fine, Yuvraj, it's done. So thank you guys. Thank you for being there. We'll see you in the next class. Bye then, take care.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir.